What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Singing the Tea. I'm your host, Dustin, singer, actor Lewis, and you already know sometimes I sing, sometimes I review all the reality TV tea, but it's always going to be what you want, and it's always going to be what you need. But before I jump into anything, I want to give a huge shout out to my dad. It is my father's birthday. What's up, Pops, aka Jerry? It is his birthday, y'all, so I got to give him a big shout out. So happy birthday, Dad. I love you and wish you many, many more. Um, but child, bump that. This ain't even about him. We gotta get into the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And my question is, Kenya, was it worth it? Like that is my question because, and we're gonna talk about it at the end. But Kenya, was it worth it? I don't know how to feel. Like I don't. This is gonna be a long review, y'all. This might be my longest review so far because I don't know. I don't know. Like I feel awkward after that because I'm a huge Kenya fan. I feel like I've been supporting Kenya throughout this because Brit has been a little extra throughout. But I can't necessarily defend what Kenya did at the end, y'all. I can't. So let's jump into it. Let's jump into it. We're gonna try to have some fun. We're gonna try to make this lighthearted when we can. But in those serious moments, y'all, we're gonna have to talk about it, fam. We're gonna really have to break it down. We're gonna have to talk about it. So let's dive on in. This is Real Housewives of Atlanta, episode 5, about last night. And baby, let's talk about it. So the episode opens up with, 90 Nose doing an old school knock on Flavor Flav's door. I'm just playing, y'all. We have Angela showing up to Shamia's house. And it's good to see them work through their issues and for them to actually be friends and to forge a friendship. I love seeing that because their issues weren't really that deep. So it's good to see them work through it. So it's good to see them work through that. Their issues weren't that deep for them to be able to move through it and navigate that space. So I'm glad that they are on good terms. As they're sitting down having a champagne, prosecco, they're having rosé actually. We see Britt shows up and she looks good. Britt is a beautiful girl. She shows up and they're starting to rehash, the events of the previous night. And, Britt is apologizing profusely. There we go. Profusely as she's coming in there. And Angela's like, she got a lot of backlash from it as well. And Britt was like, you know what? Even Shamia was like, girl, what you get backlash for? And she's like, the event owners. They're like, do we need to have more security? Now, y'all said it was over there in Bankhead anyway. Y'all said it's the hood. I don't know. I don't live in Atlanta, child. I don't know. I heard that Bankhead was a place to be when I used to go up there to visit. But y'all said it was a hood anyway. So there's that. But, she said that the owners was like, it just all the stuff that happened after. So I wonder if Britt escalated it even more after Kenya left. Because it seemed like everybody was cool, but then it seemed like there was a lot more to it that maybe we just didn't see. So Angela is talking about, the question, that kind of I guess that kind of sparked everything a little bit. Well, no, Britt was already amped up for Kenya anyway. Like she said, Kenya didn't give her a hug, Kenya did. So I feel like she was kind of already in that headspace when it came to Kenya. But Angela says she's the one that wrote that question. That was actually hers. And she said that she was trying to be a supportive friend. She said she could see some of the things that Britt was feeling when it came to Kenya as far as like their awkwardness and that the energy was off. And, Britt just goes into what transpired and what caused her to get that amped up. And she was saying, that Kenya was cutting her off. She just felt like the energy was always off between them. And that just kind of escalated the situation. She was already feeling the way about Kenya. I feel like she was already ready to like feel how she wanted to feel. And when Kenya gave her just a little bit of like pushback, I think that Britt just took it all the way to the next level. And she should have just maybe took it up a notch, but she didn't have to go that far into it. It was a little bit, it wasn't a little bit too much. It was way too much, Britt. Like it was way too much. You were absolutely out of line when you did that. You were. Um, but Britt says because Shamia was like, you need to have a conversation to let her know that you were not trying to harm her because that's how she feels. And Britt says, she had no intention on wanting to harm Kenya. She wants to apologize and she should. She should apologize. But she said she would never want to cause anybody any harm. And I wonder if production is like, hey, you need to do some damage control with this situation. So if they did make her do that, good. But yeah, Britt, you were what? Well, damn, how am I hold it? But Britt, you were in the wrong, girl. You were in the wrong in that situation. All right. So you was in the wrong, girl. So we see. Oh no, Shamia. So Shamia, you was being messy, girl. You were doing a good the messy Lord's work, girl. When you was like, oh, so Angela, did you have a conversation with Charles about what Portia had said? Yes, ma'am, Shamia. See, Shamia, you might not have been a housewife, but you know how to play with the girls. You know how to do what needs to be done to get us what we need. And, Angela was just like, oh, girl, no, I ain't bringing that up to him. I ain't worried about that. I ain't even worried about none of that. And then she was like, Britt over there talking about some. Let me tell you something, because it would have been something if somebody would have asked me about my man, Britt. See, you got to calm down. That's what got you in this situation in the first place. You too amped up, girl. Calm down. Calm down. It ain't that deep. But I'm gonna be real. I would have went off on Portia too. She would have came at my man like that. Hell, I ain't even got no man. But I would have had to go off on Portia a little bit about that. I'm just saying. And Miss P, I love you down, girl. But what tea you got on Charles? Let us know. Tell the people what you got on Charles. We need to know what's going on. We need to know the goings on about this good show. So we see Portia showing up to Kenya's salon as she's getting ready for her grand opening. This is actually Kenya's second grand opening, right? Because I think on the previous season she had a grand opening, but they didn't air it. If I'm thinking right, on the last season of Real Housewives of Atlanta. But nonetheless, we see her getting there, and her and Kenya, Portia and Kenya are having a conversation. It's good to see them catch up. It's good to see them being on a lighter, better foot. I enjoy them being friends. It kind of reminds me of Basketball Wives with Tammy and Evelyn. Like, I've always loved Tammy and Evelyn when they're friends. To me, they work better as friends than they do enemies, in my opinion. Who am I kidding? No, we like it when they get to fighting too. So Portia, you and Kenya, y'all fall out again so we can get some good tea from y'all too. But no, we like y'all being friends. We are enjoying it. We enjoying it while it lasts. Because Portia, when it come to you, we know it might not last too long. So we gonna hold on to it when we can, baby girl. So the security let her in. We see Kelly arrive. She looks super cute. I really really like it. I really like Kelly. So, Kenya's asking her, she was like, oh, do I need to get my security for y'all? Y'all good? And, Kelly was like, oh, I got my security outside. Baby, when Miss P had said, I'm my own security, baby, try me. Y'all already know. Miss Portia, she nuck if you buck, baby. She already Atlanta down. Don't go over there trying to buck with Miss Portia. Portia said, I don't need no security. I got my own. Portia said she don't need no security. She don't need no arms. She got it, baby. She got it all. I love me some Portia and Miss Kelly. I really enjoying them two girls this season. But that was really funny. Now, Kenya, that security officer was fine. Kelly, when you get a security guard, this is what you need. You need somebody like that that we can look at. Some eye candy. You went and got you, and listen, I respect this man. I don't mean no harm when I say this. You went and got your security guard like Dr. Damon, somebody like that, which that's father figure. We not looking for that. We're looking for security guard. We want to feel like Whitney Houston in the bodyguard. You know what I'm saying? We want somebody to have us running off a plane and that can hold us up in the air and spin us around and give us a kiss while the plane fly off. That's what we want, Kelly. Your security guard don't do that for us. Now, Kenya, your security guard like he might be able to do that for us. Now, Miss Kelly, you gonna have to, while y'all was shopping these models, you need to be shopping security guards. That need to be the next scene. Everybody find them a new security guard. Now, speaking of them, going through the models, we see them talking about the models. They getting the different models for her hair show that she gonna have. Okay, move on to the next thing. We getting down to the nitty gritty. Portia said, "Hey, did you invite all the girls? You know what's going on?" Kenya's letting it be known she didn't invite nor disinvite Britt, but she is not feeling Miss Britt. She don't want the girl around her, and I can understand why. I can truly understand why. Now, I agree when it comes to Portia when it when she was talking about Kenya, Kenya in that moment, Kenya was not like trying to come at Britt at the table. Like, yeah, they had like a little like petty moment, but it wasn't that deep to warrant the walk out and you saying that you're gonna pull out your pistol or your firearms on this girl. Like, that was so unnecessary. And I know that that's Kelly's friend and she's trying to defend her friend's character, but your friend showed us who she was. She showed us the length that she's willing to go when she's upset. So it just wasn't the best light to see her in. I get that you're trying to defend her. You're saying that she's a good person. And we want to believe you. And I do think that she is a good person. But she showed us a side of who she is. And it wasn't in the best light. It cheapened the show. It wasn't the best thing for her to do. So, you know, Kenya's letting people know that she is going to do a she's going to do a background check on the girls. We already know that's not going to be a good thing, but we shall see. We shall see. She twirling on out the door. We're gonna get back to this event, and it just goes very dark. So as we transition out of Kenya's hair salon or hair spa, whatever you want to call it, we have coffee with Angela and her daughter. Beautiful. Her daughter's so stunning, beautiful girl. Now, they're telling us that her daughter's father passed away when she was 7 years old. Angela had to raise her by herself. And they're best friends. And I love to hear that. I love to hear parents and their children having a close relationship, especially when you transition to adults. Like that's the one thing that I would say I appreciate. Like me and my mom. Me and my mom are like way closer than what we were because we have a friendship now as adults than what we did when we were, when that's my mama, you know what I'm saying? She gonna be protective. She gonna correct me. She gonna do the things. So it's good to have that friend relationship with your parents when you get a little older. It's just nice to have that. Now, as her daughter saying she wants to open up a coffee shop. Cool, love that. That's super cute. Now Angela's mom was supposed to be joining them down to the coffee shop, but apparently the mama and the daughter or granddaughter ended up getting into it with her. Child, this is where it gets a little confusing and something in the milk ain't clean, in my opinion. I'm not saying it is or not. It's just my opinion, how it makes me feel. Because there were a few things that were brought up here that were very telling to me. First thing that was telling, your daughter drove over to their house to get the car because she needed to use the car that Angela bought for the mom to use. When the girl gets there, they start asking her for money. She don't give them money. So then the aunt gets in the girl face and they get into it. I'm confused. Angela is this multimillionaire, right? Your daughter had to go to their house to get the car. And maybe I misunderstood. And y'all drop down in the comments if I misunderstood it. If I missed something, I don't know. I had to play it back a few times because I was like, maybe I missed something. And this is what I deduced from the situation. But it just seemed odd to me that she needed to go to the house to get the car. Like, are all of them sharing a car? Or you know what? Maybe it's a truck or something that she just needed to haul something. I don't know. It just seemed like that was a bit odd. Then they start asking her for money, which that even is more odd. And I'm like, where's your daughter's car? Where is her car? And then the aunt all in her face asking for money. I'm gonna be honest, it seems like there is some could be possibly allegedly some substance abuse. I don't know that to be true, but that's kind of the energy that is giving me that there is something going on there that we're not talking about. Now, Angela did bring up that her mom was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which my heart goes out to her and her family for that. That's really tough. When Angela said that her mom was like, I think she said self cured, or she basically like got herself off of her medicine. My question to Angela is, could it be that your mom might need to get back on her medicine if she's having outbursts like this? Could it be that she was good at a moment in her life, but something has changed and maybe she needs to get back on medicine? So I think that that's something that y'all should explore because that just seemed very odd to me. Um, Self-heal, proclaim self-heal. I think that's what she said. And I think that they should probably revisit that and figure out what's going on there because something with that seems very odd with that family dynamic. And even more so, like I get why Charles is kind of like, girl, that's you and your family. I don't want to hear about it because I think I would kind of be the same way because I'm not understanding. I feel like I'm getting parts of the story and there are chapters that were ripped out that I just need and that'll make all of the dots connect. So I'm going to just leave that there. Okay, no, we got to go back to it. Now, with her daughter apparently was married but didn't tell her until like 4 months later. That's another thing that's weird. Like, what's the dynamic between you and the dude? Is she still married to him? Like, what's the dynamic? Where's his car? She had to go around there and get a car. He ain't got no car. I just have questions. I got some questions of what is going on here. It seems so weird. I don't get it. I don't understand. Maybe it's just not for me to get or understand. And 100% family members can borrow cars. You can do all of that. But the whole interaction about all of it seemed weird. But then when they started talking about the daughter being married and Angela's feelings were hurt, which rightfully so, especially if y'all are as close as you say y'all are and you're best friends, for you to marry For her daughter to marry somebody and not tell her for 4 months, and her daughter's like, it wasn't that big of a deal. It kind of is. It kind of is if y'all were best friends in the way that y'all are saying that y'all are, and you didn't even tell her that you got married. And like the mom told her, the mom and the aunt told her, and she was like, well, it seems like everybody's ganging up on me. And she started crying. I just didn't understand it. Like her response was really odd to me too. I just didn't get the whole thing. I feel like they're a beautiful family. I feel like they're cool, but I do feel like there are pieces of their puzzle that are missing, and they're trying to tell us part of a story and not give us all of it. And that is going to possibly be a downfall there. You can't give us part of it. You can't give us the parts that you want us to have and expect us to not have questions about all the other pieces of this puzzle. Um, because I think a sit down would be cool between you, her, and her husband would be really, really nice as well. So I just have some questions. We definitely gonna get down to the nitty gritty of that, baby, because there's something going on there. Now we see Porsha and Britt meet up for lunch. You know that meetup was slightly weird, especially when they first showed up. I don't know if it's like Porsha, if it was Britt, but it just was like, hey, how y'all doing? Like that's the energy that it gave when they first started sitting there. And they started talking. They started chatting it up. You know, they talk about essentially all of the issues that Britt is essentially having with Kenya. And Portia's just saying, like, hey, I'm just kind of confused because y'all seem good. When I first met y'all were sitting next to each other, y'all were having conversations, you seem good. And then Britt talks about the ring situation, and Portia's like, well, everybody else is saying the ring situation wasn't that deep. We just feel like you're making it a bigger issue than what it is. And Porsha in her confessional, when she's talking about like Kenya don't really care about you like that. Like she's not giving you that energy because she doesn't care. No one else has these issues with Kenya but you. Now I do think that some of the things that Kenya can say could possibly be perceived as like, oh, she's being shady. Well, 100% she is not being. I can tell you, I'm a person that people always be telling me that I be being shady sometimes, and I can guarantee you 9 times out of 10, I'm honestly not being shady. I'm honestly just asking a question. And it might come off a little shady to y'all, but I'm not being shady. And you can do with that information what you will. Now back to them, because y'all done started playing, got me mad. Where my towel at? Anyway, so yeah, calm down, Britt. She wasn't throwing you no shade that time. But maybe later she possibly will be. Oh, she definitely does. You know, so Portia does a good job. Like I said, I think she does a good job breaking down the scenario in a situation, and they talk about the whole situation with Britt saying she gonna pull out the stuff, and then Portia gave a good example. She said, if I was at Shamia's house and then we're on the way to the elevator, I'm talking about, oh, I'm gonna pull this out. Who else do you think it's for? And the thing that I liked about Britt owned it. She was like, you know what? I'm gonna hold myself accountable. I was wrong. My actions were messed up. I owe her an apology for that. I love that Britt is in this moment. She's saying, I was wrong. I need to atone for what I did. I need to apologize. I gotta eat that. And just like they were telling her earlier, like she gonna throw you some shade as she should. You gonna have to take it on the chin a couple of times, but you do owe her that apology because you're wrong. So it was good to see Britt be mature, and willing to move forward with Kenya. I really think that that's a good thing. I think she should have started with like maybe texting her and apologizing and then trying to go to this event. So we see Angela getting ready to go to Kenya's event, and Charles walks in there. She's asking Charles about the whole Portia situation. That man said he don't know Portia, he don't know nothing about her, but she need to be careful. She need to watch it. Boop boop boop. She tried to talk to him about her family. Boop boop boop. Charles ain't got time. Charles in there frying them good wingettes. Charles, give me all the flats. Your family can eat the drumettes. Give me all them flats fried hard. Fry them flats hard, Charles. That chicken looked good. Fry them. Charles, is he y'all? He didn't do nothing but cook in there. Cook and clean. That's all y'all got that poor man in there doing. Cooking and cleaning. Cleaning and cooking. That's all that man is good for. And a good laugh. That man is funny. Charles is funny. Charles is like, you see, I got issues with my family, but I ain't talking about it. That man is so funny, y'all. I get their dynamic. Like I get it. I get why they're attracted to each other. I get it. They're funny. So we see the ladies showing up to the event. Cynthia shows up first. She looks stunning. We're talking about Kenya's hair spa event, right? Cynthia looks amazing. It's good to see Cynthia grace us with her presence. We see Shamia show up. She looks good. Everybody's starting to trickle in. Everybody's looking great, for the most part. But we saw one person who I have missed when it comes to Real Housewives of Atlanta. We get Miss Lawrence on the screen. Baby, back in the day we had Miss J and Miss Lawrence. Baby, that's when Housewives was on point. We need them back on our screen. Honestly, y'all need to make them Housewives, in my opinion. Um, I love Miss Lawrence. Miss Lawrence is great, great, great TV. Phenomenal singer, phenomenal actor, all of that good stuff. I think they can dance too. I don't know. I ain't never seen them dance, so I had to back up off that one a little bit. But they are so talented at everything that they do. So it was good to see them show up on our screen and support Kenya. Loved it. Now, as Kenya's having that conversation, we're getting clips of Britt and Kelly showing up or coming to the event. They have the flowers, having the champagne. I love a good glass of Prosecco, a good cava, a good champagne. I love the bubbles. Love it, love it, love it. Champagne or French 75 or gin and tonic. Those are my drinks of choice. Love it. Now, we know that Britt is talking about she wants to make it right, so she's bringing those flowers as her olive branch. I'm glad she's doing that. I don't know if this event was the right time, but I'm glad she's doing it, right? All right. So Kenya's at her event. I love that she did, paid homage to the Bronner brothers by having like that mini hair show. That was dope. I think the right winner won with that. The queen with the Kenyamoore hair care and the products was great. It was great. So we see Porsha and Shamia filling Cynthia in on all the drama that's been going on. They're catching her up. They feel like Britt might show up. They don't really know. But listen, we think everybody's feeling like, it ain't gonna be that bad, it's gonna be good. She's gonna come in here with the right spirit, she's gonna apologize. Kenya might throw her some shade, but ain't gonna be that deep. So we thought. So we see Kenya pull Angela aside. Kenya's telling Angela, "You the only person that reached out to me," which I thought that was kind of, well, not really, not really. I think that Shamia and Porsha like had a conversation with her in the car, so maybe that's why they didn't reach out to her. But it was nice to see that Angela reached out to her, so that was nice. So we see Britt shows up, and it's uncomfortable, child. Kenya kind of rolls her eyes. She go to her little office, her office, and get her another drink. She didn't need that drink. She got her another drink. We see Drew trying to go over there and speak to Porsha. Porsha paid her dust, baby. She paid her dust. But let me tell y'all something. Drew has said, "Oh, Porsha, I don't buy it." Porsha said, "Oh, you don't in my face, child." Well, when Porsha is focused and Porsha can read you down if she don't get too heated. Like if Porsha don't get too heated and she can just think through what she need, Porsha will read down. Cause when she had told Drew, when she had told her, she had said, "You don't try to sing talk to me for I make you ring or something like that, baby." Course, you did that, Miss P. Now I liked it that one. I might have to take that one. Don't try to sing "Talk to Me" if I make you ring. Now I know that's right. Now, Porsha, we don't support you doing the violence. You don't do too much violence on this TV, so we don't want you doing that no more, baby. But you was on point with that. Listen, the Porsha and Drew drama, we can go ahead and wrap this thing up. We get it. We know, Drew, you were wrong. You could have had a conversation with Porsha. You could have. Porsha, just talk to the girl. I understand that she keeps saying other stuff, but girl, just talk to us so y'all can move forward. She keeps saying other stuff because you are not willing to have a conversation for her. Like, somebody got to be the bigger person and just meet. Drew is trying, Porsha. It's time for you to do your part as well, Miss P. Now you're gonna have to try to figure it out. I'm with Cynthia. Cynthia don't even know what's going on. I need y'all to hurry up and work past this. It ain't that deep. Y'all need to move on past it. Now, we see Kenya coming down from her office, and Britt's like, "Oh, let me grab my flowers. Let me go up here and apologize to this lady at her event. Tell her how beautiful her event is. Tell her you apologize." Now, Britt, you were too eager to apologize. And now I get you wanted to apologize, but you said, "Hey Kenya, can I pull you aside really quick? Can I please?" Honestly, when she went up to her office, y'all show me what her office said. Let me go in here and just apologize to this lady real quick. You should have had that conversation on the side. I tried to apologize to her. She wasn't taking it. I just left the flowers down there by her office. That's what you should have did, something like that. But Kenya was paying you dust. She had no interest in having a conversation with you. I feel so bad for the girl, Britt. Britt said, you know what, I'm done. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and leave this lady stuff, but I really have to reach into my bag, if you know what I mean. And Britt, we glad that you walked on out. Thank the Lord. So Britt leaves, and Kenya goes into her speech, child, and the speech was very interesting. And y'all, we're gonna sit here for a minute. We're gonna sit here for a minute. I got so many doggone notes on this thing. So Kenya goes into her speech, and she starts talking about, her daughter. She starts talking about like how hard it was for her to get this salon, and she put her blood, sweat, and tears into it, and like this is her livelihood. And then she talks about people, disrespecting her. And one girl said that she was gonna threaten me, she was gonna do X, Y, and Z, and it just took a turn. And it was just kind of like, okay, Kenya, where are you going with this? You can see everybody's kind of like, okay, like we got you, girl. But then you were saying, you know what? Take those flowers, get those flowers out here. Y'all can get them to a unhoused person. And then Kelly's like, you know what? Let's get the girl card. Let's at least keep the card. She's like, no, you can burn that card, Kenya. I get you upset, but you're doing way too much. You're doing way too much. So then when Kenya says, I did my research, and she started bringing out these poster boards. The first poster board, they show us little clips of it. We couldn't see it. No, everything was blurred out. But it looked like different pictures of Brit, right? Then there was one poster board about some like fraud stuff. Then the last poster board that she shows, allegedly, was a Brit performing oral acts. Let's just say that. Kenya, it's hard to defend this because I get you're upset with her. I get that you hired a private investigator. He gave you all this information. It's one thing to talk about it, and I think Shamia brought this up in her confessional. It's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to actually print it out, blow it up, and have it on the poster board and show it at your salon on the opening of your hair spa that you said you spent your daughter's college fund on. That you said that this is your livelihood. You're trying to create that generational wealth for your family. And for you to make all of that about Brit was really unnecessary. And I think that if you would have just sat back and just let everything play out with Brit, the fans would have really took care of Brit. Because I'm gonna be real with you, Kenya. A lot of fans, a lot of people ain't feeling Brit too much anyway. Like they're just not. Like we don't know what her background is. Like she's saying a lot of stuff, but we don't really know who she is. And I think that things would have just naturally took care of themselves when it came to her. But by you doing what you did, you messed up things for you. Like you messed up your blessing. Your hair salon was your blessing. And I don't think that Brit did everything right. But for you to go to the links that you did, it was just unnecessary. And Kenya has done some wild stuff, y'all. And once again, I'm not excusing what Brit did. I'm not saying Brit was right. I'm not saying that Kenya was wrong or right. And I understand, when people say, well, they go low, we go to hell. I get people say that, right? Like, you can't do wrong to somebody, tell them how mad they get. I get all of that. But Kenya, that was really dark and it was really, really low. And I think that you're better than that. And I just go back to that question I asked earlier. Was it worth it? Like, was it worth it? Because all of the cast, for the most part, left with the exception of Drew. But everybody left because it was uncomfortable. Like, why would we want to sit here? We don't want to be associated with that. And I think that Cynthia was telling you right in that moment when she was like, you know what? I love you. You my girl. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. But you better than this. Like, you did not have to do that. To show pictures of that girl performing whatever acts it was that she was performing, allegedly, in that space during your grand opening. Why would you want that associated with all of these magical things that you are doing? Like, come on now. Like that, it just was unnecessary. It was unnecessary. And a lot of ladies felt away. Like I said, they left. Everybody starts to leave. Porsha's outside. You know what? I don't want the camera on me. Get these mics off of me. The ladies are feeling away. And a lot of them are feeling bad for Brit in this moment because it was like, wow, like she went so left on it. Like, yeah, Brit was wrong, But you overcorrected. You overcorrected to the point where it was wrong. Like we all for you getting it. Get your get back. But it wasn't the time. Maybe if you would have did it at a dinner, once again, still not excusing it. But maybe if you would have had like a dinner or something, you did it. I would have been like, okay, I can. I still don't think I would have agreed. But I think that would have maybe been a little bit better received. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I asked that question. Kenya, was it worth it? I don't think it was, but we get the message at the end from production, and they're saying they are deciding to no longer move forward with filming with Kenya. And y'all, I know some of y'all might not agree, but I get it. Like that's crazy for her to do that. Like to show somebody doing. I just look if I was in that space and somebody showed pictures or videos of me possibly doing something like that. First of all, it ain't me. I've never, yeah, baby. It could be, baby. That ain't me. But no, seriously, I would feel away. I would want to feel away. I'm honestly, I'm gonna get the law involved, baby. You going down. You're going down. You're going down. I will be calling the police, and I will be pressing charges if you did something like that to me. I'm just saying, y'all. That is, I think, our last episode with Kenyamoore. It seems like the beginning of the end, right, of this season. Like it just seems weird because we know that she's not going to be here with us anymore. I wish that we could have. Hopefully, she comes to the reunion and hopefully she gets to explain herself a little bit more and gets to explain like where she was coming from because I feel like there's so much that we're possibly missing. Um, or maybe they can give us like in between like a sit down conversation with like her and Andy, or a sit down conversation with her and somebody, her and Cynthia, her and Porsha, to figure out like where her head was at or what made her do what she did and why she felt warranted. And I know a lot of people are saying like, oh, she'll be vindicated when the episode airs. And y'all, maybe I'm still looking for it. And once again, y'all drop in the comments, let me know. This is a shared space. I learn from y'all. I'm gonna learn. I'm learning from y'all. Y'all learn from me. We are giving and taking it to each other. So I would love to know y'all's opinion on that. But y'all, I don't know. I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know. But with that being said, y'all, that is our review of Real Housewives of Atlanta. I'm finna get in here. I'm finna go ahead and watch Married to Medicine, child, because Dr. Greg on there singing or whatever. So hopefully I get that drop to y'all today because, child, it's just a lot going on. But with that being said, thank y'all so much for joining me today. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and share with the family member, share with a friend, share with the person next to you on the cubicle. And I will see y'all soon. Have a good one, everybody.